From the many stories on the internet, reaching ghosts, goblins, demons, and even insane people. The stories that are either written to be scary or tell an interesting story based on real life. This is Gore 2008. Everyone remembers the show Doug, one of the original 3 Nicktoons. It seems like a pretty normal show about the challenges a young boy faced in his daily life. But I always got a weird kind of vibe from it. Compared to other kids shows, Doug seemed a bit more negative and anxiety-centered. Doug was always worried about something, and in most episodes he would have fantasies of everyone he knew cruelly laughing at him due to whatever problem he's facing that week. Doug always came through with it in the end though, and every episode ended with him writing in his journal about how he had overcome his blown out of proportion problem. In 2005, I began to have dreams about the show for no apparent reason. I cannot remember the details, but they made me want to see the show again. Doug hasn't had any reruns in years at that point, so I don't think of any way to see it again. To my surprise, however, it came back for 1 week in fall of 2005, airing at 6 a.m. on weekdays. I watched it for all 5 days. The first 4 episodes I remembered, but they did not sync up with my memories perfectly. It had been a while, so I chalked it up to flaws in my memories. The Friday episode was something I was positive I've never seen before. It started with the normal intro with the line dwellings, but the characters never appeared. The lines started to continue as normal, reacting if the normal characters were there. Once the intro ended, it switched to show Doug in a dark room, writing in his journal. He is not narrating his writing like he usually did. He just quietly wrote for about a minute. The screen faded out, and the usual episode title screen appeared. Yet there was no skit this time. They were just giant letters forming the title, Doug's Real Life. The episode opened with Doug eating breakfast. He was given a voiceover about how there was a big test that he had neglected to study for. As his family was having a normal conversation, the screen started flashing. The flashes seemed to be showing something, but they did not last very long for me to figure out what they were revealing. Doug left his house and began walking to school. During his stroll, he had one of his fantasies about how his life being ruined. Mrs. Wingo announced that Doug had flunked the test, and the entire class started laughing at him, with their heads swirling around Doug. This went on for longer than most fantasies, and the laughter sounded more cruel than usual. When Doug got to school, the screen flashed again. This time, it stayed on to the new image, or rather, the new animation style. The colors were darker, and many objects had changed colors. It resembled a negative film. Doug was walking through the school hallway, which had full of kids who had never been seen on the show before. No one paid any attention to him. After Doug got to his desk, the animation switched back to normal. Suddenly, for no reason, the scene changed back to after school had ended. Doug was walking home, worrying to himself about the test. Upon reaching his house, his dog Porkchop greeted him. Doug began to talk to him until the screen flashed. Porkchop turned into a hunk of rotting meat, and Doug's house became decrepit. Doug went into his house and acted like as if he was talking to someone, though it was completely deserted. After interacting with invisible people for a while, he sat down to an empty table. The screen flashed again, and Doug's family was there with him, eating dinner. The phone rang, and Doug's mom answered it. Doug instantly thought it was his teacher telling him about how he flunked the test. Doug had a fantasy where his parents yelled at him for failing. In it, they grew to be gigantic, and their faces became twisted and dark red. The screen flashed again to an empty house. Doug was crying and apologizing, but there was no one else in the room. He went up to his bedroom. It was completely emptied except for a book and a pencil. Doug picked up the book and started writing. He narrated this time. I can't tell which one is real.